Oh, the brutality. Hey everyone, welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here, hello and welcome. Please subscribe, do that first. It's how we fund this show. No, that's going to That Pedal Show store, which is how we fund that show. Or this show, or that show. I think I'm just rocked by the rock, Daniel.
Yeah, emotional. I'm emotional.
It is emotional,
I'm emotionally erect.
4 overdrive pedals to look at today. 4 really interesting overdrive pedals that are all, well, actually 3 of them are relatively new. Actually 2 of them are really, really, really new. One of them is newish and the other one isn't that new, but we dig it. First up is the Crazy Tube Circuit Triptychøn. Then we have the Mad Professor Simble version 2.
Then we have Empress Drive.
And then we have the Citadel from Electronic Audio Experiments.
Beautiful. And we have, of course, the Crazy Tube Circuit Sidekick on there for a bit of fun and sparkliness.
Amplifiers today.
I wonder what the settings are.
We've got the Hanwire Deluxe Reverb with the new speaker, details in the description. And we have a divided by 13 amplifier. I need to look at the top panel to tell you what it is.
It's lots of numbers and letters.
It's the AMW 39.
Ah, yes, the fabled 39.
Broadly Marshally. Go onto the Divided by 13 website if you want to know more about it. Both amps are running all the time, just to be clear. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's start with the Simble. Let's ease ourselves in.
Yes, okay.
The Simble, right, if you go onto the interwebs and look for the old version of the Simble, you'll see various Finnish people demoing them.
Right.
One in particular, and I'm going to put his name on the screen here, next to a proper Dumble Overdrive special.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And boy, does he play well.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good.
And this is kind of a new version of it because Mad Professor has been acquired, has new owners.
New owners, yes. Yeah, it sounds great. This actual one was on Robin Ford's pedalboard for a little while.
Ah.
Yes. His tastes have shifted.
Right.
But he dug it.
Right, let's have a listen to the amps then, Daniel.
Wow.
That's pretty groovy. So I'm finding my way around this guitar. It's a Patrick Eggle Macon. I'll have to put the name in the description. Pat is an old friend of mine, and he said, when are you going to play one of my guitars on the show then? I was like, send one down and I will. We will.
That's lovely.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I'm not entirely sure what noise it's supposed to be making, so I will swap over to something more familiar in a minute. But
Sure. That's a strong start.
it's, I hate saying this. It's really ampy.
I know exactly what you mean, though. When you turned the gain down and you went between that and that, it sounded like just a different channel of the amp with a bit more mids and a little bit more
Yeah.
love. It's so cool.
We're always talking about transparent overdrives. I think that really ticks that box, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's really, really cool. And the gain range is musical all the way.
Yeah.
You know, it's very cool. Like right at the when it gets really gainy, it's a bit of fizz, but
Yeah, that's nice.
you know, that's
nice
okay.
in the mix, though.
That's nice. That works.
All right, then. Triptychon.
Triptychon.
You heard it at the start. We have to doff our caps to Crazy Tube Circuits for always coming up with something interesting when it comes to combinations of overdrive pedals and amp-like textures and all of that. And this is no exception. So Triptychon 3, Triptych. As you look down from pedal cam there, on your right-hand side, it's arranged vertically. You've got a boost section, and that can be 2 types of treble booster or 2 types of octa.
Yes.
We then hit the center row, which is fuzz, and that can be a fuzz face. I want to say 2 types of tone bender.
Yeah.
And something else.
Yeah, well, 2 types of fuzz face, because we've got the tone bender 1.5, which is essentially a fuzz face. And then we've got the Mark II tone bender. And what else is there?
3 tone benders.
3 tone bender. There you go.
Vox tone bender.
Right.
1.5 tone bender, like you were saying,
Yep.
and a Mark II tone bender.
So, the 1.5 is more like the fuzz face. So really,
Big at the fuzz face.
yeah, really 2 fuzz faces and 2 tone benders.
Well, what we're hoping for is that the fuzz face is all woolly and boomy, and the Solar Sound 1.5 is tighter. Anyway, and then the left-hand side, as you look down from pedal cam, is the sort of overdrive section, designed to recreate the sound and feel of a driven tube amp.
Can I tell you why this is really clever?
Yeah.
I think this is where a lot of people struggle with fuzz. Because the sound of fuzz that so many of us associate it is the sound of someone playing fuzz into a cranked amplifier that is limiting and compressing and going, ah! So the left-hand side of this pedal recreates the way that amp limits.
Yep.
So having the fuzz face going into that is really clever.
The switching on this is potentially a bit confusing, because we've got this optional extra switch. Now, if you don't have the optional extra switch in, the master overdrive section is always active.
Right, okay.
All the time.
Yep.
Right? And if you put it to this switch, as we have it configured now, we'll switch the fuzz on and off. The switch on the right will switch the octa on and off, or the treble booster.
Mm-hmm.
And the extra switch will switch the amp
Yes.
section on and off. Now, you can configure it in different ways depending on whether you have the extra switch or whether you use this switch here. We haven't quite worked that out.
Okay. Well, yeah, the extra switch, so it's okay.
Yeah.
So let's start with the...
We'll just start with the amp
that,
section
yeah.
then, and see what you get.
Sold already. That is wonderful.
It is a thing with a lot of modern pedals. Crazy Tube do it really well, build in loads and loads of output.
Yeah, right.
And it's just great because it means you can, if you've got amps like these that are just on the edge, you can start getting the whole thing working together. It's funny when we set up amps, sometimes we get criticized for having the amps too clean, and therefore people want to hear it into a slightly cranked amp. And if we have the amps right on the edge, people moan that the amps aren't perfectly clean, therefore you're not hearing the pedal.
Yeah.
We think on the edge is kind of the best place for it to be because no tube amp is ever truly clean, right?
Correct.
So we like it like this, and we think it works because it creates the extra harmonics of the amp and pedals working together. But neither of these amps is going into heavy overdrive, just to make the point. All right, so the next thing I guess we add is a fuzz.
Wow.
Right at the so as we would want from a fuzz face, Dan turned the guitar volume down and it cleaned up beautifully. So you heard that. Just do me a favor, play some low power chords on the bridge pickup. We'll hear the difference in the bottom end of the four fuzzes.
All right. Yep.
Yep. All three of the tone bender 2, the 1.5 and the fuzz face all have tons of bottom end.
Yeah.
And the Vox tone bender carves it out quite nicely.
Right.
All right, so let's add a boost to that then.
Man.
We'll start with the octa. We'll start with the treble booster. Let's see what the treble booster does just into the overdrive.
Sure. Treble booster always reminds me of Brian May just for that particular nose on it. What's interesting about that is you can
with those two versions of treble booster, you've got one that's got loads more bottom end. As the sound is cleaner and you're just going into the overdrive in the pedal, not the fuzz, the straight treble booster sounds kind of...
Yeah.
But then once you get into those fuzz
tones,
things with the loads of bottom end, and
you want that
just cut. That's really great. Okay, and then octa. Then we'll go on to the fuzz face for this. Two types of octa apparently. Oh, I've got to play a strat for this. Sorry.
You do. A wah, a vibe, and that.
Yeah, it's really, 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 really great.
Isn't it great? Wow.
It's really great. For me, the second octa option was too much.
Yeah, okay.
It was starting to gate or something on the bass. But then that's all going to depend on what you're plugging it into. And we were into the fuzz face type, to be fair. So obviously you've got myriad options here. I dig that in a big way.
Me too.
Just to explain the two bottom switches, they're to help along the problem that we always talk about with buffers when it comes to fuzzes. In Crazy Tube's words, on the fuzz section, for example, it's called the anti-buffer. Engage this switch if using a buffered bypass pedal or a guitar with active pickups before Triptychøn to simulate the impedance and response of a passive guitar pickup. Leave disengaged when plugging in directly from a guitar with passive pickups. And that's because...
Well, because the fuzzes are all about impedance, input impedance. And if you're hit with a low impedance from a buffer, then the impedance, it doesn't like it. So the fuzz is very much dependent on the output of the guitar and the inductance of the coils, that relationship and the way it loads the input. We can simulate that. I can buffer the input.
Okay,
here.
Cool. So this will be interesting then. I'll continue to play the Strat. We'll turn the fuzz on. And what you should hear, well, I'm going to make a prediction. When Dan turns the buffer on, my volume control won't have as much effect.
Yep. But I will also make a prediction that the top end's going to go crazy.
Okay. All right. What I'll do is I'll start with my volume control midway, because I have a prediction of what's going to happen then as well.
All right, there you go.
So it mitigates it to a point. On
Yeah.
this in this particular setup, it's over compensating, so it's getting very dark. But just to make the point, when the signal is buffered, a buffered pedal before it, your volume control just becomes less reactive to what you're doing.
Yeah.
And the signal stays strong, and the fuzz is kind of getting too much.
Yeah.
And therefore, it's open, and you might like it.
Yes. Especially with humbuckers.
Yeah.
I think buffers and fuzzers with humbuckers can sound really cool.
Yeah, yeah. Great.
Very cool. It's a very, very cool pedal.
Killer.
Yes.
Okay.
I was impressed.
Drive from Empress. This is pretty exciting, right? Dan and I used to get very excited about the Empress multi-drive.
Oh, that thing is wicked.
Introducing parallel kind of boost, overdrive, and output section. I think I can't remember fully, but it was such a tone sculpting thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to get into pure conjecture and say I think it was quite hard to understand, and it was never wildly successful.
Well, you had 3 separate drive circuits all in parallel, which you could EQ. So you might have a fuzz doing your bottom end, an overdrive doing your top end, and blah blah blah. And you could sculpt it, but it did take a minute to dial it in. But once you dialed it in, it was incredible.
And I think also some of the nature of the foot switching was a little counterintuitive to those of us who cave dwellers. It's like it has to be in a line. I want to go down a tangent, but I'm not going to. So Steve and the gang at Empress have come up with this, and there's some DNA from older Empress Drive pedals. There are others. You can read about that on the Empress website. At the point of filming, it's not out yet, so we're just going on the information we've been sent.
Yes.
Right.
First of all, how freaking cool does that look? Proper VU meter in it.
Yeah.
Looks alone, I'm in.
It looks great. At its core, there's an overdrive section, a parametric mid, an active bass and treble, and a boost section.
Which you can change pre-OD or post-OD, which is fabulous.
Yeah, and they do go into some detail with the signal flow diagram
Oh, very nice.
to sort of help you get your head around what's going on. The boost is first, the gain is next, the mid-range control is next. That's paralleled with the bass and treble controls and the output and the additional boost.
Right.
So it's kind of, it will help you understand what's going on as you tweak the knobs, which Dan and I are about to get into. In addition, it does have a noise gate, which can be handy if you're using lots of high gain. All the way over to the left is off, and all the way over to the right is the maximum amount of gate, we assume. Shall we just get into it?
Let's get into it.
slightly odd EQ settings. I'm trying to figure out, like, starting with the dark mid-push TS place
Right.
by dropping the high end, taking off some bass and pushing the mids. But I think where that mid control is in the gain circuit is not having that effect.
Okay. And the thing to remember is that the EQ is boost and cut.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so I was trying to cut the treble.
Yeah, make it a little bit darker.
Boost the 700.
Right, okay.
And then
And tighten up the bottom end.
tighten up the bottom end. But it wasn't really getting there, so carry on. We'll do the opposite. I'll scoop out some mid-range, push the bass and treble and get some gain going, which is kind of where we were starting to go anyway.
Uh-huh.
Not saying all of those sounds in there were nice or good, just trying to explore the extent of the EQ.
Where we are now is delicious.
Yeah, but you gotta, you have to hear the extent of
For sure.
of it. Otherwise, it makes no sense to just get it to the point you like it and not show you the extremities. But let's see. I just want to go for like. So we went to almost the highest gain there. I just want to get it on like a nice boosty place. Not unlike the Simble, it is super ampy.
Yeah.
That EQ is so powerful. So
Yeah.
these guitars, you'll have heard it in videos before. you'll notice when I turn the Strat on, the difference between Red and pretty much all my guitars. Like Red is like twice as loud and twice as trebly as all my guitars. So finding a pedal that can dial that into a sweet place for both guitars is really cool. If there's any downside, is you get lost.
Yeah, okay.
You've really got to understand that EQ, which I clearly didn't as we were getting going, but the more you get going, the more you realise it. Should we just see what the gate does?
Yeah.
Really good.
I really dig it.
Yeah,
I really dig it.
I think so many overdrive pedals out there now, and we're sort of post this age, I would say. You know, your tube screamers, your SD1s, your blues drivers, your standard overdrive pedal, which all, to a point, sound and feel kind of similar with what they do into your amp.
Right.
The EQ's different, but the dynamic range of them,
Yeah.
all good. We love them. We still love them. Don't get me wrong. What's happening, I think, with a number of modern drive devices is there's more life in them. For a start, they've got more oomph. They've got much more output, but they've got such a wider band of EQ to deal with.
I think the bar is so much higher now.
Yeah.
You can't just put out another DS1. You know?
It kind of reminds me of what you get from something like a color driver, you know?
I was thinking exactly the same thing. And the Timmy,
Yeah.
you know, those things that are really flexible, but you can dial them in to sound amazing. And there's been a lot of thought and a lot of love going to the design.
Yeah.
It's all in there.
And in the past, we've been really grumpy about pedals that say they sound like amps. I think we're actually making some inroad
Yeah.
into it finally, where
Yeah.
they do actually start to have the headroom.
And the feel
Yeah.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, because you know, you can probably tell by my playing, it takes a minute to adjust to something that's so alive, and it will pull some honesty out of you if you play it. If you play it at volume. Cool, like that very much.
Very cool.
Very, very much. All right, Citadel then. Electronic audio experiments. We've been largely ignorant to the brand for a long time. Didn't know they existed, but we just haven't had the stuff on the show. And then when Marcus Reeves came in and we did a fuzz show a few weeks ago, he brought in
That thing was...
just an astonishing fuzz. And so, anyway, went through the cupboards, found this, the Citadel. It's derived of they had an overdrive pedal, which was derived of like a Sun Model T
Okay.
type amp. And I think this uses a similar architecture, but it has more flavor of what we might think of from classic 60s and 70s Marshalls.
Yeah.
Although, as they say, they're not pinning it down to any specific amp.
No. There's
It's
a little,
really-
little hint here,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, but
But it's not like that JCM
That's right.
800 or that, JMP. It's a flavor thereof. It can apparently function as a preamp. So it will hit, apparently it has enough mumbo to hit the effects return of your amplifier. We're just running it as a pedal today. And surprise, surprise, it is phenomenally loud. What you get on 4-input Marshalls is 2 volume controls. One bright, one normal. You'll recognise that from Plexis and later non-master volume Marshalls. But we do have a master volume, treble, mid-range, and bass. Apparently the treble, mid-range, and bass aren't super powerful and obvious, but they are highly interactive.
Right,
Exactly
okay.
as they would be.
Yeah, on those
Yeah,
amps.
yeah. All right. Do me a favour. On the bridge pickup, just play an open E major chord at the 12th fret, leaving the bottom and top strings open. Dan's just played the intro to Park Life from Below, which I've had to cut out because we'll get a copyright strike. So,
I'll play it. Hang on. I'll play it minor. That is extraordinary.
it's just hearing the aggression of the telly, and the Marshall was like, yeah, that's getting there.
Can we hear this?
Yeah, the other thing to say is that Electronic Audio Experiments say that this works really great down chain.
Right.
So if you want to put boosts and overdrives into it, apparently it's really good for that too. So maybe we might get into a little bit of that with the Simble.
Bringing the rock.
Whew, took me a minute to get there, but
Dude.
just turn the fuzz on in the Triptychøn, the Simble came on, and the Empress Drive. Now, what happens when you stack a lot of overdrive pedals sometimes like that and there's loads of gain going on is they really cave in on one another.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't seem to be happening.
No. Yeah.
Nice.
No, so what's really interesting about the Citadel is even because there's quite a lot of gain going into that, but the Citadel still held it together.
And we got it
Cranked.
again cranked. Yeah, yeah.
It's so impressive. Man alive.
Yeah. I just one final thing. We mentioned earlier that the amps are on the edge, so I'm just going to turn the Citadel up and see if how much headroom these amps are going to
Let's do that.
cede to the.
Sure.
Go for it, mate. That was a bit noisy. Okay, cracking. Just cracking. What a time to be alive, Daniel.
Indeed. Indeed. They're getting really good, aren't they?
They're getting good at it.
Really, really good at it.
It's only been 80, 60 years.
Magic.
60 years.
Magic.
All right. Thank you for watching. Please go to that pedal show store and buy stuff. That's how we stay on the air.
Yep. Massive thank you to our patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much for your support. Also, massive thank you to our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe.
Undertones!
And our mates in Australia.
Pedal Empire!
Beautiful.
I don't know. We're just happy. It's loud and we're happy. Yeah, cool. All right. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you soon on that pedal show.
Bye.
Bye.